Hi, this is Nancy L.T. Hamilton with a tip of the day. Today I'm going to play Julia Child. I'm using household ingredients and in my studio. And one of the first things I'm going to show you is what usually happens by accident in the studio. It involves pickle, steel, and silver. And it's called copper flashing. It's happened to me by accident with putting a piece in a pickle that had a steel spring in it that I didn't see. And I pulled out my piece and it was covered with copper and I just had a heart attack. It also happens with students a lot too. So if you have students or you have steel springs, this could occur. So I'm going to show you how to fix it. First I'm going to show you how to make it. Here goes the steel wire in there, and then I'm going to put in this piece of silver, sterling silver. And this is my pickle from my pickle pot. It has a lot of copper in it. You can see that's why it's that blue-green color. And you should see a lot of flashing developing, copper flashing developing on the outside of the silver. Okay, now I'm going to take it out, and then we're going to put it in this magical mix over here that I'm going to put together. This is 1 teaspoon of pickle, and I'm going to take 1 teaspoon of hydrogen peroxide, hopefully, and I'm going to mix them together. There we go. And then we're going to place our copper silver piece in here. And we're going to wait a minute or two and it'll be perfectly clean. So I left it in there for, maybe a minute. And there it is. All the flashing is gone. By the way, don't use these cups at home to do this. This is just for our demo. If I were you, I'd use either glass or a plastic container to do this in. And you don't need a lot. Unless the piece is big, then, adjust your amount of chemical to the size of the problem that you have. So, okay, so for our next cooking in the studio, we're going to make Flux. And I'm going to use boric acid that I got at Walgreens. You can get in the pharmacy department. And I'm going to put in my little cup here. It depends how much you want to make, but for this demo I think I'll just use 1/4 teaspoon. And then I'm going to use a form of ethanol alcohol. Now you can use denatured alcohol, which I don't know how much this one was. You can get this at hardware stores, paint supply houses, that kind of stuff. It's also found, ethanol is also found in alcohol, so you can use Everclear, you can use vodka, you could probably use scotch, but I don't know why you'd want to waste it. But I'm going to use vodka because it's pretty safe. We put it in our body, so it can't be that, well, it is awful for you, but only in excess. So I'm just going to, I put in maybe 1/4 cup there. This is how I cook at home too. Don't panic. I don't think it has to be rocket science. You just kind of want to, that's enough boric acid. I want that a little whiter, so I'm going to add a little more. I thought that was being chintzy there. The lights are going on and off. Must be the second coming happening here. Okay, so I throw in another 1/2 teaspoon. Once you do this at home where you add salt and you go, that wasn't not enough. I'll put some more in. It's kind of the same thing. So I'm just kind of taking out the lumps. And that was boric acid and alcohol. And what we're going to do is we're going to go, I'm going to coat my metal with it, and drop it in there. And this is going to also help protect against fire scale, as well as aiding in soldering. Okay, so now the piece is coated, and I'm going to go into the torch room and we're going to watch it work. Hi, Julia here. We're back in the torch room. One thing I want to warn you about this, it's got alcohol in it, it's highly flammable, so you need to keep your torch away from the container of Flux, and also aim it away from your face. It's going to burn off the alcohol. See that flame back in there? And now it's going to turn this beautiful green. And then there it's hardened on there enough for you to put your Flux down now, and it's coated the whole piece. And it's ready to go. And that'll protect your whole piece from fire scale, and it'll assist the solder in flowing. So that's the end of that tip, and I'll meet you in the other room for our next one. Okay, here's another household product that we use in the studio, or can use. It's correction fluid, and it's to keep solder from flowing onto areas that you don't want the solder on. As an example, I'm going to show you this clasp that I'm working on. I have to solder these pegs in, and I also wanted to keep them at the exact right height so that they slid in like that easily. So what I need to do is put solder on the back, not solder, correction fluid on the back of this piece so the solder won't accidentally run down the peg and solder the two pieces together. So what I'll do is turn it over, paint my correction fluid all around this piece, let it dry, and then put the two pieces together, and when I solder, they won't get stuck together. A more traditional approach or product to use is yellow ochre, which you mix with water to a paste that's similar, consistency that's similar to that of the correction fluid. And it works the same way. You know, you just put it on your brush and paint it around the piece and let it dry. This stuff comes off when it gets heated with a torch. It dissolves into a powder, and you can easily take it off. So that's 2 tips for keeping metal from sticking together, which really comes in handy sometimes. And I have one more tip for the day, part of the tip for the day that I'll get to with you in a second. So our last bit of information today is, you're going to have to listen to me. There's no things to look at except my face. Is little hints for if you run out of pickle, or to make your own, which saves you a lot of money. It's a lot cheaper than buying it from the catalog places. One thing is to get this stuff called sodium bisulfate, and it's a pH reducer. You can buy it at a spa store or a hardware store, and you mix half a cup of that to a gallon of what's that water called that doesn't have anything in it? Distilled. Thank you. That cameraman is so handy. So you mix it with a gallon of distilled water and put it into your crock pot or your pickle pot or whatever you have. It's basically the same chemical that they use in commercial pickle, so it saves you a lot of money. Follow the warnings on the packaging so you don't kill yourself. Another emergency pickle, there's 2 different ones that I know of. One is vinegar and salt. I think it's a cup of vinegar and a teaspoon of salt. And another one is lemon juice, not all together, separately. You know, if you're out in the woods and you need to pickle something really quick, go find a lemon and rub it on your piece. But it works. It's an acid, same concept. And one more tip for cleaning your jewelry: take a couple of Alka-Seltzer tablets and put it in a cup of water. Put your jewelry in, let it sit for 5 minutes, and scrub it with a toothbrush, and you've got really clean jewelry. So thanks for coming to my studio, and I'll see you next time for Tip of the Day. This is Nancy L.T. Hamilton.